going on, everybody? Welcome to the Market Minds. I am Charles Moon here, and I am not live from the floor of the CBOE, but I am live from good old Denver, Colorado, everybody. Glad to have you. I do have an issue. I don't see the comments, so I'm not sure. Oh, I think I see it. Sometimes I could be technically challenged here as well. I see it. I see it. I see it. I see it. Thank you. Gene, how's it going? Now, I do want to state this. I did get an alert saying that they're going to be working on the internet in my area and we may have an outage. And it just so happens to be during this time. So if all of a sudden I freeze up, hopefully not with my mouth open in a weird, compromising picture, then we should be just fine. Today, I thought it would be great that we would do a rapid fire session. This rapid fire session has been well received. This is a great time to be fishing for opportunities in both directions. This market has been extremely volatile. However, we are now at an extremely important and critical pricing level in the SPY, which we just bounced from. And that's going to be very, very key in the near future. Now, I'm going to bring up my chart here so that you folks can understand exactly what I am referencing and why we are referencing this. This, folks, is the SPY. Now, don't mind all the drawings, but what's really important that we have to be attentive of was yesterday's lows and today's response in relation to the 200-day moving average. Now, look, I'm getting a bunch of names, and I'm going to start off with just a couple as well that I want you to be aware of in the near term. Now, there is going to be a watcher. There was a pretty respectfully, very aggressive trade entry coming in on a stock known as PDD, Papa Delta Delta. It's a $7 million opening call sweep. This is for the April 11th contract. This is an out of the money call buy. So, the reason why it stands out is because of the premium value here. This wasn't a shot in the dark. This was a institutional size order. Now, what's really intriguing is that PDD is stuck underneath the 200-day moving average. You could say out of the big Chinese tech names like Baba, Baidu, PDD, FUTU, this has been one of the weaker performers. Baidu is breaking the 200-day moving average, but I thought it was really intriguing to see because it looks like they're trying to upshoot it towards this gap fill, and getting above this 122 price could be a major hurdle. I would encourage you folks not to trade it now, but to have an alert set and be aware because if it breaks, we could see a flash pop. And, generally speaking, Wall Street doesn't make these kind of bets with this short dated a time unless they know something. You know what I mean? So we got a few names. Let's see. I got Palantir, Marvell, Tesla. I'm going to write these down really quick so that I could get through these very quickly. Yeah, let's go. So the first name is Palantir, one of my favorites. Great performer today, up around 4.5%. Now, what's really key here is this 90 half price. What's really been positive is that after they lost that 50, they hit a higher low reversal. So right now, what we're seeing is if you notice, this was in a very sharp downtrend. And if you notice on what's happening here, we're building out a base, meaning they're trying to discover a floor. Some of you may know this as a bit of a rising wedge or a pennant flag formation or whatever you want to call it. Listen, I just know that this is now starting to bottom out. If you look at my chart on the right, we got three different distinct higher lows, and we're starting to cross up and cross over. So we're starting to see signs of a recovery. We haven't been able to close above the 50 SMA since they got below it on this candlestick or this bar here. And that being said, we still need to get above this 90 half price. But when it does, there is an immaculate, and I mean immaculate profit pocket up to 102. And after 102, there's that gap fill that we could be targeting up towards. So that key 90 half level coincides with the faster 10 EMA on the daily chart and the slower 200 EMA, both extremely important metrics for signs of strength. And again, that 10 EMA is sharply sloping down, but it is starting to curl. And once we start getting that curl back up, it is really going to give a well defining visual representation of strength. Now, MRVL, listen, what I have to say here has to be taken with a grain of salt because AVGO is due to report this week. So, whatever happens with AVGO is going to affect a lot of stocks, especially a name like MRVL. But that being said, you could see they have fought hard to hold this 200-day moving average, which is highlighted by this teal line. Now, the core resistance is in the picture from 91 to 93. And once we get above that level, again, that's where it opens up for that run to around 100 and $102. Once we get to that point, anything goes. I don't know if we're going to be in a state of recovery, but ultimately we should be. Now, the reason why I say we should be is well, the last time the Qs, and I'm going to pull this up very quickly, the last time we were trading at this 200-day moving average, ladies and gentlemen, was back here. We ended up sliding below this level, but look at how sustained of a rally we got into once we got to that 200-day moving average. And as well, what led to that test was a straight line, very volatile and extreme drop very similar to what we have seen here in recent trading. Now, the twist in all of this is obviously our president flapping his gums on a daily basis about tariffs and any other executive orders that has dramatically shifted the market parameters and dynamics on a daily basis. So hold on tight, folks. We're due for a rally, but all it takes is just one news release to shake things up. This is kind of like being in one of those twister rides at the carnival where we're spinning around, going back and forth, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish. I don't see anything changing anytime soon, but in the meantime, we are seeing positive signs. And I'll tell you right now, both the SPY and the Qs have set up an inside candle. So whatever our highs are today, as long as we don't exceed yesterday's highs, if we actually break above these thresholds tomorrow, I expect a very strong and bullish run. So, Tesla. Well, the problem with Tesla is now they are getting trapped. So, this price level of $280.29 is very important. I would even extend it as high as $282. If we break through that level, we're going to test 300, and that's going to be a major barometer. That's that key psychological level. Can we bust through this threshold? If we do, we should see a sharp recovery. I wouldn't anticipate it any higher than 320. We need a catalyst in Tesla. That's the problem. The catalyst is going to be robo taxis. The problem is the CEO is not doing his job. He's doing a different job. And his job right now is to be on X for 18 hours a day, stating his opinion, which he seems to believe is fact, and as well work on government efficiency. That's the problem. The problem is that he is not focusing on the task at hand, which is Tesla. Once he reverts back, once we start releasing more information, once there's movement on robo taxis, I assure you Tesla will be in a state of recovery. But right now, they're in a very bearish state. And until they can recover above 280, you have to expect the stock price to get faded on these rallies, regardless of where we are with the RSI. Let's see here. We have TSM. Love TSM. Love Akamai. Great choices, folks. I'll smash that like button. I love you, Gary. Much love. Yes, folks. Before we go on, as always, if you love the content and love what you see here, folks, we would absolutely greatly appreciate two things. Number one, fire off in that chat. I don't care if you're just saying hi or hello, that's going to be extremely important. And as well, hit that like button. It gets us more exposed into that algorithm, and certainly is going to be a case or a statement to get more exposure on our company. Now, let's look at TSM. TSM obviously had some really great news, right? Well, let me say this: the United States had great news because of the TSM investment. Another $100 billion. That's already on top of the 50 or $80 billion that they are going to infuse into the United States economy. So now we're seeing TSM in a state of recovery. All this chatter about, earlier, at one point Trump was like, well, we need to start, issuing tariffs to Taiwan as well. We need to start taking business away from Taiwan and bringing it back to the United States. That had a very negative impact on TSM, but as you can see, they are recovering above the 200-day moving average, but we're not out of the woods just yet. If you're going to see here, 186 is the 200 EMA, 10 EMA threshold. You heard me mention that before. We need to get above that level, but once we do, we have a healthy profit pocket up towards 196 and perhaps the push towards $200. So, getting Trump's blessing and obviously Trump really talking this up. This was a major announcement yesterday. Um, it's leading to a positive sign. And the positive sign is that we're breaking above a level which we actually deflected from yesterday and got sent down. And so, in my opinion, TSM is definitely a name to watch. That being said, again, with AVGO earnings this week, we have to be extremely cautious with any stocks or anything that's associated with the semiconductors, AI component makers. So be very careful in being overly aggressive in these names until we see the outcome of AVGO, which, if we've seen how the semiconductors have reported, has been a bit mixed. I mean, Nvidia dropped what, $17 from their earnings report. This is got to be careful, but there's a lot of upside plays in AVGO. It wouldn't surprise me if they blow the roof off of earnings. So look at all these highs and hellos. You guys are the best. All right, let's look at Akamai. Akamai is a name that we have been closely watching in the AI room. We've gotten a few players already jumping in. Great, great trades for those that took it. They love the reversal off of this pivot zone. They did breach it slightly, but if you notice, we have been ascending. And now, if you notice, over the last few days, the highs are no longer getting higher. So this was the projectable upside right into what is known as that 10 EMA. You're going to hear me mention this a lot, folks, because this has been a very important indicator to both the short-term performance of stocks and as well the relegated follow through for intermediate term performance. Because once Akamai clears this level, what else is there to slow it down? There is no technical resistance until around $90. Maybe around 89 half where that gap bar high is, but we're talking about a possible free run towards the overall long-term destination, which is hopefully that gap fill. I will say traders that are in Akamai, 82 to 83 half is on watch over these next few days. If they continue to stall out and we start breaking down and making lower lows, it's actually more likely to retrace down than continue up. So just be aware there's a reason why Akamai dropped from the skies and shed over 30% in just a few days. But that being said, if we're looking for continuance, market momentum has to play a role, and the breach of these key resistance levels has to play a role. And if you actually think about it, think about what they have done in the last 2 weeks while the market has been working sharply in this direction. So there is a strong level of demand that has provided a floor and is propping the stock up here in the near term. We have Nvidia. Now, folks, after Nvidia, I don't have any other names. So, folks, where are we talking? We have TSM, we have Costco, we have Google. Beautiful. So, I'm going to pull up Costco, Googs, SMCI. TSM is Pelosi's favorite. Exponential, Gus. EMA. Meta. Ooh, Guillermo. What's up, my man? So we now are so Nvidia, look, there's this point where Nvidia has made these massive swings, okay? And every time they get to this threshold, ready to just dump down to $100, they start pivoting and start holding strong. So where are we at right now? Well, I don't see signs of a reversal just yet, but with the notoriety, the belovedness of retail traders, the value and the dips, you know what ends up happening. The stock tends to rally strong. But again, I need to remind you folks, since earnings, they lost the 200-day moving average and got plastered to 110. So even if they do rally, which they actually have great room to actually try and pump here, for me, I'm looking for a breakout. Uh-oh, internet problems maybe. Okay. I'm looking for the visual break here of 117 to 123 and then the retest of this 127 level. That's going to be a big breaking moment. It would not shock me to see us rally and then get blasted. It just really depends on the trajectory of the markets. It really depends on the trajectory of AI. AI growth is slowing down a bit. One of the things that I warned about in 2025 is not to be overly infatuated with the semiconductor names. Folks, you're going to want to keep an eye on cloud products and cybersecurity. And that's going to bring me to CrowdStrike here in just a bit. Let's talk about Costco. I believe Costco earnings is coming up. They have represented and have showcased and talked about same store sales growth for 3 months straight. So I would only be able to speculate properly, but it's really a guess that they're going to do well on earnings. Now, unless expectations are extremely high, which they tend to be when stocks are, trading at all-time highs, there's a chance that there could be a miss. There's a strong chance that some of these tariff news could affect a company like Costco, and they have downbeaten guidance. They could warn about a slowdown in sales, and that's all it's going to take to scare the markets and have a shift all the way down to $950. That's the key. It's really the comments and, of course, what the anticipation of the executive team of Costco uh, is suggestively saying in the near term. Now they're only priced to make about a $40 move, um, $44 or $43 to be exact. So that would pin them, in my opinion, into this key support level of 986. But Target took quite a beating, only to rebound like a madman, I believe. Yeah, they took quite a beating from 127 to 112 and snapped it up really quickly. They're trying to recover coming off of earnings. Now, I don't want to compare the two, but the only comparison that I'm really worried about is what Target CEO had said in relation to what the forward guidance is going to be, and that's something that we have to be attentive of. Now, Costco actually beats; they're projected to potentially make new all-time never seen before in the history of mankind highs, and that pins them towards that $1,000. I'm sorry, $1,100 mark. We'll have to wait and see, but some concerns. I mean, I would be looking out for 986 and then 950, and it could be that dramatic. The Googles, uh, great value opportunity, but again, in relation, another stock that is below their 200-day moving average. Them, Amazon was able to defend it. Microsoft's underneath it. It's unbelievable. The Mag 7, folks. Nvidia. So right now, I'm looking at around 173 to 175. After that, it'll be around 180 and then 187 for your upside target. So again, 173 to 175 is a pretty critical level. It was really interesting to see yesterday that Google was a big time leader. They were the ones that were breaking those highs while these markets were breaking down. And then all of a sudden, we just shifted off the lows and exploded here to the upside. So that's something that we're going to have to be aware of. It shut down at those highs, and certainly something to be aware of. We need to break through 173. Now, before I get into the other names, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put the and I saw this earlier. I want you to put this word down. I promise you, I wasn't the one that did this, okay? My big brother Scott did this. The word of the day is Charlie. So, folks, if you want your name on the wheel today, spam the chat with the word Charlie. My God. I will state though, if you have already won within the last week, please, you need to exclude your name because I think we're limiting it to the same winner. It needs a 7 day gap. There was a period where someone had won like 4 days in a row. So we're just trying to give everybody a fair chance. Please, if you want to participate, the word Charlie, Hulk smash Charlie. Google. So again, you can see there's a lot of resistance in the picture right before 173. Still need a clear 175 hurdle. We'll see if that can happen. Next up is SMCI. What another name that, like Google, was also superseding the market conditions and was explosive to the upside. And all of a sudden today, it just does not look the same. However, they're defending their lows, and what's really interesting was that they recovered and held above that 50-day simple moving average. So there's two levels to watch that's really important: 36.65 and yesterday's low, which is 34.50. Because if it loses 34.50, they're back down towards $30.27. I listen, I like SMCI, uh, but remember the AI story is slowing down a little bit, and this is where the cautionary tale is. But I like the value in this name. I like the value longer term. And I don't see Google, Microsoft, XAI, what is it, Starlink and SpaceX and every other company out there slowing down and not buying these expensive GPUs from NVIDIA. Once Blackwell really gets sent out and really gets I guess, ramped up in production, their production slowing down because they're having issues finding materials that are required. SMCI is going to benefit. Now, again, SMCI guidance, horrific, but the markets didn't care. They pumped it up. This is exactly where they were when they rebounded and rallied off of earnings. So let's see. This should be a pivot point, but if they lose that 34 threshold, 30 is your downside target. Meta, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So Meta, uh, you know what? This is now becoming a little bit more weaker than we traditionally have seen. And this is my warning to you in expectations. It was at a point where it was like, just by Meta, you're going to make a lot of money. I think they went up 22 days in a row or something crazy like that. And all of a sudden, they have completely unraveled. We are facing a lot of resistance. They're at the 50 SMA linear regression mean on the daily chart. So we really kind of have to get to a point where we're going to just take off without much obstruction. And I'll tell you right now, the 200 EMA on the hourly chart is on watch. It is currently at the devil's number 666. But if you actually look at the recent rally here, look at what it did. It hit that skinny little purple line and absolutely got dumpster, aka they dropped from the skies. So this is important. I believe that's the threshold that we need to break out from. That should take us somewhere between 680 to 690. And after that, we're looking to be in a state of recovery to $700. Now, for me, outside of the market conditions, you have to say, and I'm sure we've all said it. Man, I wish I would have bought Meta at $630 when it was trading at 740. Now we're back at this range. It's almost as if nobody wants to buy. Don't forget, folks, there's a reason why we had interest in these stocks. And Meta is not the same as a company like ASTS, for example, where it's a pure speculative growth stock. This is a company that makes 40, $50 billion a quarter. They listen to your conversations and know exactly what to sell you. Guess what day it is? Final call, everybody. Final call to get on the wheel. All right. So I want you to be attentive of some names here. Oracle is going to be on watch. Why? Because Oracle is a cloud based name. They slid through the 200, and look at what they did today. The 200-day moving average is at 157.13. Today's low just so happens to be at 157.05. Within 8 cents, we have held that level. So they're going to respect that level. We trade through 161 here. I love the upside to 165 to 168. Again, I'm not really inclined to try and hit and hold too long in this market environment, but if we're looking for quick hitters, this could be one of them. MSTR, ladies and gentlemen, Eric in my room hit the breakout. We talked about where the resistance was. It was between 295 and 300. Look at exactly where we had seen the stock reject, right at that 20 SMA. Today's high of the day just so happens to be $300.75. Why do we want to be aware? Two things. Number one, look at how perfect they held the 200-day moving average. And I fully expected Tesla to do the same thing. And you know what Tesla did? Tesla kicked me in my you know what. So Tesla became weak and now is trapped. MSTR held this level and has rebounded for $60. And there's still more to go. If they break through this $300 threshold, your upside is right around 327. And Bitcoin has looked really, really strong since the announcement by Donald Trump about the strategic reserve. And ultimately, folks, if Bitcoin is rallying, well, MSTR is generally going to benefit. One of the stronger performers today as well is Mara. And Mara has also looked really, really good. So maybe perhaps we have found a bottom. Mara is going to be a watcher above $15.30 for that run up to around $17.40, and maybe, just maybe, a test of that $19 price. We'll have to wait and see. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the wheel of names. um, Folks, let me just pull this up. I want to say good luck, everybody. Hopefully we can get someone well deserving of this. Hey, everybody on this list is well deserving. Today's winner is going to be it is MD Mark. Mark. Congratulations. Do me a favor, reach out to our team, Prosper Swag at prospertrading.com. Congratulations, Mark. And with that, folks, I talked a lot. I'm a little under the weather. Hopefully, I brought the energy today. Just want to say thank you for your participation. Thank you for your activity. And more importantly, thank you for your love as always. Hopefully, we'll see the rally until the end of the day, but who knows? Anything goes. And with that, I am out of here. Peace and love, everybody. Until next time.